Yesterday, Michael Thomas broke a record. The record he broke, he's a wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints. He has now 145 catches this season. That is the most catches ever in a single season by a receiver. That's a pretty huge accomplishment. The previous record was 143 catches. Marvin Harrison, the former Colts receiver, held that record for 17 years. That's a long time. And the crazy part is that Michael Thomas broke that record with still one game left on the schedule, which means that, in theory, I don't think he's going to play next week. I would rest him if I was the New Orleans Saints. But if Michael Thomas did indeed play next week, his lead would be padded even more. He would really elongate that record for the single season receptions record. That's unbelievable. He did it in 16 games. That's a big deal. It's really, really cool. But I do want to make something clear. Despite the record that Michael Thomas just broke, just because Michael Thomas is now the single season receptions record holder, that does not make him the best receiver in the NFL. Now, to be clear, Michael Thomas is an outstanding receiver. He does a great job. He deserves the record. He worked his butt off. And he is an incredible, incredible football player. However, Julio Jones is the best receiver in the NFL. You get mad at me if you want, but the best receiver in the NFL, that's Julio Jones. Context matters. The people you have around you, it matters. The situation you're in, it matters. Michael Thomas is a true star receiver. If you put him on any NFL team, he's going to have great numbers. Michael Thomas would be a star no matter what football team he played on. However, I cannot imagine a better scenario for a star receiver to play in than currently for the New Orleans Saints. Think about what Michael Thomas has in New Orleans. Michael Thomas has a Hall of Fame quarterback, Drew Brees. He also has incredible matchups he gets to deal with all the time. He has Sean Payton, a Hall of Fame offensive coordinator and Hall of Fame head coach. He's one of the best offensive minds ever to coach in the NFL. And Sean Payton, the coach's strength is this. He is really good at building an offense around the strengths of his players. He's really good at getting the best out of his players. That's what Sean Payton does better than almost anybody in the history of the NFL. Not to mention, Michael Thomas has really good teammates around him. He's got a great offensive line, good receivers around him. And the Saints borderline force feed Michael Thomas the ball. And I'm really not even trying to take away from Michael Thomas. I know it sounds like I'm trying to discredit him or say he's not as good as he is. No, again, Michael Thomas deserves the record he got. He worked his butt off. He's taken advantage of every single opportunity he's had. Hey, well done, Michael Thomas. It sounds like I'm trying to, give him backhanded compliments. I'm not. He's really phenomenal. But I want you to compare Michael Thomas's situation to the situation of Julio Jones in Atlanta. Michael Thomas has Drew Brees, a Hall of Fame quarterback. Julio has Matt Ryan, who's fine. He's good. He won an MVP at one point when he had a really good coach. Michael Thomas has a coach, Sean Payton, who's phenomenal. In Atlanta, they had one good coach a long time ago, Kyle Shanahan. Since then, it's been a lot of mess. They had, Steve Sarkisian. They have Dirk Koetter right now, the former Buccaneers head coach. Dirk Koetter's, he's got some problems. Here's how the Falcons offense operates under Dirk Koetter. Players are asked to adapt to the system in Atlanta. Whereas in New Orleans, they have a different philosophy. They adapt their system to fit their players, which means that, hey, it's easier to succeed when the system works to benefit you rather than you having to adapt and benefit the system. Oh, and let's not forget that Michael Thomas has better players around him and a better offensive line. If you swapped Julio Jones and Michael Thomas, if you put Julio Jones in New Orleans with a Saints uniform on, he'd put up better numbers than Michael Thomas because he's a better receiver than Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is incredible. His work ethic is amazing. But again, Julio Jones is a better player. And it's not really fair because Julio Jones is a far better athlete. He can do everything. Julio Jones is not only the best athlete in the NFL to play receiver, he also has the other gifts where he works incredibly hard. And man, he catches everything. He's got great body control. He's got great spatial awareness. Julio Jones is a great blocker. He can run after the catch. His effort, his work ethic's incredible. I mean, it's unrivaled what Julio Jones does and who he is as a receiver. And Michael Thomas is a fantastic receiver. He earned the record he got. He's the single-season receptions record holder in the NFL. But do not forget for a second, Julio Jones is the best receiver in the NFL.